Hey, listeners, it's the Cubica AMF Tech Tip Podcast. I am your host, Orly, and I hope you're having a great afternoon or a great morning or midnight, whenever you're listening to this show. But again, if you haven't had a chance to listen to this show, I hope you join me weekly as I take you on a journey through the fascinating world of bowling technology and beyond. And we have a returning guest. I love that we're getting returning guests because this means that I'm not doing something wrong and they want to keep coming back. Either that or they want to get out of work and they just kind of want to come hang out again. But we have Kyle Burns back on the show. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Orly. Glad to be back.
And if you didn't listen to the past episode with Kyle, Kyle, you want to kind of let everybody know what you do with Cubica AMF?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am in the technical support department here at Cubic AMF. I am the documentation specialist as well as the second shift supervisor. So basically, I'm kind of the main point of contact after about 5:30 Eastern for our techs when they run into a jam or have any issues, as well as I'm also working on creating, developing, and publishing all the documentation, both internal and external. So for all you customers out there, on the technical resources page, so what you see on there has basically been gone through me in one way or another.
Right. We sound pretty important. You sound more important than me, I'll say that.
I don't know if I go that far.
Well, so the other day, actually, we did a kiosk masterclass, and Kyle, part of Kyle's thing that Kyle got to talk about, he talked about like cleaning your kiosk. So in my head, light bulb went off. I'm like, this is the perfect tech tip for the Tech Tip podcast. Kyle, I'm one that's going to be like, all right, let me grab a bucket with some soap and water and just start scrubbing everything down. What goes into cleaning, like a kiosk or maybe the super touch pads down by the lanes? What is the best way to clean those?
So first thing we got to remember on some of these things is these are electronic devices, right? So first and foremost, we want to make sure they're powered down before we start getting any sort of potential water in the mix here, right? Water, electricity, no good. No good for the device, no good for you. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that when you're looking to clean that, make sure it's powered off. Kiosk is pretty easy. You could just go into the little secret menu, hold your finger up in the very top right hand corner. It'll eventually pop up a little pin code box 1590 that'll get you into that. There'll be an option on there that'll say shut down kiosk. Go ahead and click that and it'll shut down for you. If you want to be if you want to be super safe about it, once it's shut down, just go unplug the power cable from the wall. So then no power going to the equipment anymore. Same thing with the lanes. It's a little easier on them. All you got to do is go back to your curtain wall over there, find your hub for each lane, just unplug the power cable from that, and then you're good to go. Computers, basically the same as the kiosk. Just go into your Windows Start menu, hit shut down. Once that's shut down, just unplug that one. So once you're done that, biggest thing we want to make sure of is what you're going to be using to clean. There's some things specifically we want to avoid. Basically anything that's a real strong sort of chlorine-based cleaner, or even hydrogen peroxide as well. We kind of want to stay away from that, as well as any sort of harsh solvents like acetone or benzene or anything like that, as well as even ethyl alcohol. Just because these things, again, they're solvents that can be abrasive. They can possibly cause some damage to components, not necessarily so much the internal electrical components, but more so kind of the framing material, things that make up the bezels and all that. So now that we know what to avoid, so what should we use? Honestly, just a damp cloth, honestly warm water and soap is a great choice. Just make sure that the water is not applied directly to any of the surfaces, like say the surface of the super touch screen or the easy key keypad, or say a computer monitor screen, a keypad screen, or the kiosk screen. Make sure you kind of get the buffer of say a towel, that you get that kind of damp but not dripping, and just kind of go over with that. Once that, take a dry towel, just make sure you get all the excess moisture off, and get any sort of household disinfectant cleaner like like Clorox multi-purpose wipe, or a Lysol multi-purpose wipe, Microban, or anything even food grade, food surface grade as well, will work great for it. So just get those, and kind of once it's dried off from that, just take one of those and give it a hit of that, and that should pretty much get you where you want to be in terms of the clean on those things. the other two kind of big ones that we'd want to touch on as well would be your credit card pin pads.
Okay.
With those, I wouldn't suggest getting anything wet per se near them, just because there's a lot of points of entry into that. We don't want to get any moisture in there. We don't want to get any of the kind of alert interruption type errors, which are basically unrecoverable. Your device is basically bricked at that point. So we want to avoid any of that. In that case, what you want to do is probably just take like a disinfectant wipe. Uh, Again, any sort of food safe sort of disinfectant wipe you may have, just kind of give it a nice wipe down with that. That should be enough that it'll disinfect it without getting any excessive moisture into the unit and causing any damage. And then the other one, big one that's very often overlooked would be the actual computer tower itself, because it's probably not up on the desk. It's probably under the desk. There's probably a door covering it. It's in there. It's doing its thing. It's been there for a while. You've forgotten about it. It's up when you need it. So no harm, no foul, right? Well, this is again, it's an electronic device. It's working itself down there in a confined space. It's probably building up some heat, as well as, if from home or anywhere else, or, say I haven't really checked under my desk for a while, and then you go take a look and it's like, oh man, there's a lot of dust bunnies and stuff going on down here. Well, that's going to be the same thing under the front desk, and unfortunately, a lot of that's probably going to start getting into some of the vent areas and things of that nature of the computer. This can cause some bottlenecks of your computer performance just because it's not exhausting the heat properly. You're getting debris in there as well that could be causing some problems, things of that. So periodically, I'd say, honestly, probably once a month. You don't have to go crazy with it. I'd say probably about once a month, maybe just take a moment, check it out, go to any sort of like office supply store or anything. You can buy those little air duster cans of compressed air. Just kind of take a look at all the little venting areas near like the power supply or to the side where you can see where there's clearly some air ventilation. Just give it a good shot with that. Just make sure you can clear it all out. And maybe again take, say, like a damp cloth and just kind of run over, get any dirt and anything else that may have collected on it. But that'll keep your PCs in good health and hopefully prevent any possible performance issues that might come up because of that.
All right. Well, Kyle, I definitely think that we probably saved some people today. Some owners, maybe some employees that were going to go cleaning their kiosk without unplugging it, or using some kind of soap and water like I probably would have did. So hopefully we saved a few people from making that mistake. I appreciate your time today. And as always, if you guys need to contact technical support, Kyle, how can they reach you guys?
You can reach us by phone over here at 866-460-7263, option 3. Or you can shoot us an email at techs, TECHS, @QAMF.net. And if you want some downloadable PDFs that kind of go over a lot of the safety and care information that I went over with you, you can find that at the main cubicaamf.com website, cubicaamf.com/support/cleaning-and-sanitizing. That gets you couple downloadable PDFs for the safety and care of consumer-facing products, staff-facing products, your house balls and rental shoes, as well as even some Pin Spotter, Highway 66 cleaning and maintenance as well. So some good information up there for you.
All right, Kyle, thanks for that information. And thanks again for being on the show. And if someone is new to the show, make sure you go back and listen to past episodes. We have some great tips on there from some very knowledgeable people, not just myself. And Kyle, until next time, I appreciate it. Listeners, we will talk to you again soon.